Hey guys, I know this video says Pokemon, and right now I'm showing Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I'm giving a shout out right now to somebody from the Pokemon Evolutionaries. This time it's not Professor K, it's N. I do not slay Titans. I am not Eren Yeager. I am more close in personality to Mimori, Miss Mimori from Scared. And right now I have the setup of a very famous Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel with Dark Magician, and my favorite card of my deck, Thousand Nido's Restrictor. I love this card. So, Pokemon. Well, it's been almost 20 years since it first came out. And I wanted to show off some of my old school cards versus my new school. But these aren't ones I'm comparing and contrasting. These are just ones I wanted to show off. So you first have my Erica's Vileplume, Giovanni's Nidoqueen, really cool card. I wish I had the holo still, but I don't. We have my Venomoth from Jungle. Now this actually, no Butterfree, it's not your turn yet. This is my Pinsir. It actually came in a set that Walmart used to sell, where you were able to buy cards from other languages, and this was one of them I pulled. It's a Japanese Pinsir, but it's actually an American card still. Then we have my Dark Aardbok. Yeah, Team Rocket. I love this card. I love it so much. Now it's your turn, Butterfree. This is my Butterfree from Jungle. I don't know where this card's from, just forewarning. This is my Hitmontop. If anybody can tell me what set it's from, please comment below. My Magneton from Fossil. This is another one of the cards that actually came from that set. This is my Articuno, Japanese, and it's from Fossil as well. Now this is a cool Team Rocket card I have. This is my Team Rocket Moltres. Love this card. Then you have my Dark Typhlosion. Come on, focus. There we go. Dark Typhlosion, which was really cool. I love the dark card. This Hypno, it's actually really cool. And then my final two cards from just showing them is my Dark Machamp, not Machop, and my Dark Fraligator. I love this card. I wish they did hollows like this, but I guess they won't anymore. But let's get into the comparison. Now this is a card from Germany, Dark Blastoise. I want you to notice something real quick about the old school cards. The foil itself, the HP is much lower than we're used to, and how they're formatted. Now I only have EXs of Blastoise out, but compare it to either one of these. You'll notice immediately that the color of Blastoise is different. In the EXs, he's much darker than he is in the dark card, and also the shell, you can also tell the shell is darker, and the color of his cannons. And you also notice that in the dark Blastoise, the cannon is much thinner than the cannon in either one of the EXs. Looks much weaker. I also want you to notice the difference in like facial structure Blastoise has and underbody. His underbody is almost yellow, whereas in the EXs, it's more of a whitish color. But here's one of the first starters you could have. The next one I'm moving on to is going to be Charizard. Here's a classic Charizard. Now compare him to the new cards, the EXs that I have of Charizard. This Charizard is much more of an orangey color, almost orange yellow, where these two are much more orange red. You also notice a different color in his wings compared to the full art. His wings in the full art are almost black, whereas in the original card, they're bluish. Once again, difference in HP. Now my next card is Venusaur. Old school Venusaur. He is much different. He probably has the most difference. I'm going to show you just a regular holo. All the cards are holo I've shown you so far. But notice the flower and this it's orange, and this it's red. And his body color, he's much more of a pale blue, while this one's more of an aquamarine. And the leaves, dark green versus light green. And also his face, he's much rounder in this one compared to this one. But here's also an example of the color change when you compare him to his EXs. It's much different. I have 3 EXs to show of him. The flower is the most significant change. In the original, it's more orange, while in the other 4 I have, it's much more red. Now, these are just the basic starters, and they're not the only ones I want to compare today. We also have Jolteon. This is probably one of my favorite cards. I love the evolutions. But this is Lieutenant Surge's Jolteon. And I want you to take a very close look at its facial structure. It's much different than the new Jolteon cards. It's much more harsh shaped. And it doesn't look very friendly, it doesn't look very cuddly. Compare it now to the Jolteon from Generations. This kind of does look like a cute cuddly creature. Like, I like this one's appearance more than this one. This one's kind of like, I'm going to kill you, angry Jolteon. Well, this one is, I may shock you, but I'm still cuddly. It's not the vibe you get from the other one. Now, Vaporeon. Vaporeon, probably out of the early evolutions, has the biggest change. And I have 2 from Jungle Set. And I want you to notice its face once again. Very weird looking Vaporeon for most people when you're used to seeing this cute little thing. It's more cat-like. The ears are no longer that yellow. See the yellow tinge? And that's not just from the card and age. It's more white now. The tail is white in the original, where in the new one, it's kind of translucent or blue. And also the body is much darker. Now the next one is another evolution I want to focus on. Flareon. I have multiple Flareons I'm going to show. Now, the 2 from Jungle probably are the reddest. And one's hollow and one is not. This one's my hollow, this one's my non-hollow. But they're both extremely red. I'm going to put the hollow over the non-hollow for right now just to save table space. But even compared to the dark Flareon, its look has changed. Now compare it to this adorable little thing. Its look has changed again. The color is still kind of close to this one, but notice the tufts of fur are much more white yellow than the golden yellow that you have here or even here. I kind of like the art on this better, where you kind of have the fur looking like flames. But even compare it now to this. It's kind of gone back to the old school. You don't have the flames coming off at the end, but that's still pretty cool. When you compare it to this, they are pretty similar. Then we have the full art, Flareon. Now compare this to this. Once again, this is much more red, where this is much more of an orange red. And the fur is that pretty golden color that you see in this one and in this one. And it kind of harkens back to the old school Flareon, which is really, really cool. Now my next set is going to be Raichu. Of course, this is non-hollow, and this is my Dark Raichu, which is a hollow. And, of course, Pokemon's favorite mascot, Pikachu. Now this is a really weird Pikachu for most people, because we see the Pikachu today looking a lot like this. Very skinny, very streamlined. Where this is very bulky and very blocky. And also its face is white. Even in this Pikachu card, it's different. And Raichu, well, Raichu has its own changes. Keep in mind that these are from different angles for Raichu, but its tail in the original versions looks like it's going to break off at any moment in time. It looks very thin. Whereas in the new Raichu card, it looks very thick, it looks very full, it looks like it's an actual tail that has muscle. Also notice the color changes from this Raichu, which is really, really orange, to this one, which is kind of orangey brown, back to the orange color we saw in the first Raichu. Now, Raichu itself has also changed. Notice the cheeks are kind of white, whereas this one it's yellow, and this one it's also yellow. I can't see the underbelly here, so I can't comment on that, but they did stay white. Now, my next one is my Alakazam collection. I love Alakazam. I was so excited for Fates Collide because I heard it had Alakazam, and these are just 3 of my old school Alakazam cards I still have. We have base set 2 Alakazam, Team Rocket's Alakazam, or Dark Alakazam, and then Alakazam from I don't know what collection. But you notice that each one, except for this one, the coloring, the brown coloring becomes darker and then it becomes sort of lighter. But when you look at the new EX, it's once again dark. You also notice the change in how Alakazam is drawn. He's drawn like this massive, top-heavy character to being kind of more streamlined in the dark, and even more streamlined in my 3rd Alakazam to being able to fly in the EX. I also do have a Mega Alakazam, which also kind of zooms in on the facial structure. So you can see that the tufts, the yellow tufts we see here, turn white for the EX, for the Mega, but it still kind of looks like the regular old school Alakazam, which is really, really cool for me. Now, the next card, Old School Ninetales versus New School. The new one has these brown tips on the tail, but the old school sort of does have those brown tips, but not in the same way. You can see it's very, very light, whereas compared to this one where it's very, very pronounced. And also, I don't know why Ninetales has like the Sandhawk going on right now, which is really weird. But the new Ninetales still has that, but it looks more natural. I love the old school foil on this, but it has changed for the better. Now, how many of you remember waiting in line for this card when the first Pokemon movie came out? I didn't realize how awkward Mew looked until I started looking at its legs. It looks like it kind of got rolled over by a rolling pin when compared to the new school one. I like this one so much better than this one, but this one has a special place in my heart because that's when I got it waiting for the movie. Now, Gengar, one of my favorite Pokemon. I love Gengar. I have a shiny Gengar. I have about 6 or 7 Gengars in my games. I love it. Mega favorite Pokemon. This is from Fossil. And here's the new school. This really doesn't have much emotion to it, whereas this one does have a lot of emotion. It looks very cool. Now notice Gengar and Fossil is also, come on focus, a star. You'll have to take my word on it. But it also kind of looks weirder. I like the new version of it because it gives it more emotion, whereas the old school version doesn't seem to have that much emotion behind it. Now, the reason why I pointed out that it was a star is because of this. This is also Haunter from Fossil. It's also a star. This is actually a holo Haunter. No, it's not a misprint. It used to be a star card. But also notice it kind of has this white patch right here and then right on the head. And it's a weird purple compared to the new school one, which I like a lot better once again, just because the artwork has changed. Now, the biggest change ever has got to be this guy, Gyarados. Old school Gyarados from base set 2. New school Gyarados. Notice that Gyarados in old school has like a green underbelly and its frills are also green. In the new school, it's all white, which kind of feels more natural than this. This kind of looks like it's a mutated lake monster, while this feels like it's an actual creature. Also notice its HP goes up from 100 to 130. But I just wanted to show off some cards today. I hope everybody has a great day. Please comment, leave a like, and give me some suggestions for other card videos you'd like to see. Bye guys.